All right, so then you get into the teams, and then you ended up on the East Coast?
Team 2, yep.
Yeah, Team 2.
Team 2, baby.
That's like the Team 1 of the East Coast, which, for those of you who don't know, like Team 1 was called like Stalingrad or Stalin 1 or something. Instead of SEAL Team 1, it was Stalin Team 1. Because they were actually big on military bearing and all kinds of
stuff. Back in the
stuff.
day, I think they both were.
Yeah, so Team 2 had a reputation of that very hardcore, disciplined group of guys.
Yes, they did.
Meanwhile, I was at Team 3, which was kind of middle ground, and Team 5 was like more of, hey, let's go surfing.
Right.
You know, flip-flops and have fun and party, and was more of the laid-back team.
As long as you do your job.
That's right.
As long as you can do your job.
Yeah. And so now, what your experience at Team 2, was it what you thought it was going to be?
It was cool. The people are, I mean, I was kind of like nervous, obviously, being the new guy, but dudes were cool. I mean, there was a little bit of like, hey, new guy. I mean, what you'd expect, but no, it was awesome, man. What I thought the op tempo would be a little different, to be honest with you, and especially with what was going on, but it really wasn't.
Yeah.
I guess I thought it would be more high speed than it was. And the only reason why I can say that now is going to, development group and then kind of comparing the two. But I mean, dude, it was awesome. Like, learned so much there. Learned so much. The people that I got to work with, freaking awesome. And my troop chief and my troop commander, troop chief and my platoon chief were both ex-Damnet guys that came over.
Oh, awesome.
So I this is awesome.
That's
so it was like CQC all the time. This is great. So I was ready for Green Team. Really. I was ready to go.
No, it's good to have mentors like that.
Yeah, man.
My biggest mentor when I first showed up was Master Chief. Well, he was a senior chief at the time, Senior Chief Mike Martin. He was tattooed from, the back of his ear all the way down literally to his big toe. And he owned a tattoo shop in IB. He was a Vietnam guy. And I mean, it was the Vietnam guys that held that rogue maverick fuck you mentality for the SEAL teams. Why we don't do what all the other special operations guys do. Right. It was set by Vietnam guys. And so those were my mentors and
experience.
And then we saw with like the Eddie Gallagher story where that shift, like Eddie Gallagher is an old school mentality guy. Right. And then he found himself surrounded by a whole bunch of like these, whatever, the newer version, whatever's going on in the SEAL teams. I don't know.
The politically correct kind?
Right. Yeah. Or something. And, and then he found himself, in fucking prison or whatever. That's a whole other story, but I'm just kind of highlighting that there is the old school mentality versus now I think what's going on is like this new school thing. And do you feel like the teams started to change as you got out?
I mean, yeah, I know when I was getting out, it started to get more political. I mean, as the wars were going on, Afghanistan, Iraq were kicking off, and then sporadic stuff around the globe, it was work-based. Yeah. Like, operation, what do you need? I don't care what you're wearing. Just do your job. Be here, ready to go. Got your gun. Let's go. And then that started kind of as we were pulling out and op tempo slowed down, we're taking on a new role, trying to get the Afghanis, Iraqis to do their own stuff in their country, which they should. Yeah. It got more political. And then like, where's your colored shirt? Why haven't you shaved? Yeah. Like dumb shit. Like, what does that mean? What does that matter? Oh, yeah. What does that matter? Like, we're in our own little world here. Like, we're doing our job, and it's just, and I get presentation and military bear and all that crap. I get that, but that's not the way it was. There is that shift for sure when the political kind of comes in, and I didn't like that. I was getting out like right at that time. For sure. Yeah. And like I talked to guys that are still there. They're like, dude, you got out at the perfect time because the wars were dying. Like it was dying. Like it's not. They were still doing some cool stuff, but it wasn't. The op tempo wasn't the same. Right. I mean, you knew you on deployment. You're going to this country or that country, and you're getting it on. That was it. Yeah. And it's DAs. Everyone loves direct action. Right. It's like the Hollywood op, right?
Yeah. Who said it best? Olson or one of our admirals said, what used to be the operation of a decade became an operation every night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Because that was never.
Because back in the day,
surveillance.
Some guy got to go, one group of guys in the entire SEAL community got to do something cool every now and then. Yep. And then before you know it, all SEALs are doing cool shit every night.
Everyone's a combat veteran.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody's getting it.
Which is great. Like, which is awesome.
Yeah. It's one of the very few careers where the pinnacle of our career is war. Yeah. Right? And it's kind of, most people don't realize that, but like, we want to go to war. Yeah. We want conflict.
That's what we That's what we signed up for. And like, yeah, totally.
More than the other 94% are wanting peace.
Exactly. No, we're like, let's go. Let's cleanse this place.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is do this. Like guys before us train and train and train and train for literally decades, do an entire career and never get to pull the trigger.
You got to have a regular season, right? It's like a football player. Like, we're just doing practice, summer camp all year round. No. Get us to the big game, man. Yeah.
And I'm very quick to attest that the squadrons, you guys were like fucking just ripping it up, annihilating. I remember hearing just such great stuff going on. Whereas I was in a different place doing different things that, different. It was just different.
Smart guy stuff. Get all the smart guy stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know about that. Because a lot of times I was like, God, why didn't I just stick with that path? And, anyway,
in that way, it always is.
Yeah, it is.
What if I would have? What about this over here?
It always, But hey, it is. It gives us
life.
Gives us all these different experiences to kind of leverage.
It does.
And talk
Absolutely.
about, and now we can be old people.
Yep.
Yeah. There I was.
Yeah,
that's right.
Scratch my back.
Yeah, exactly. Can you get that real quick? Okay, so now let's get into. You basically went to a tier 1 command, and correct me if I'm wrong. It's good to talk about this stuff. The tier 1 aspect, and I know you're kind of sort of hesitant now. Do you find yourself hesitant to talk about it because the command seems to have this invisible leash on us that we feel like, God, I don't want to do it, but I do it, but it's kind of this.
It's
weird,
I
right?
wouldn't say with just certain things. I mean, it's not like you can't Google anything and find out everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I don't know.
Yeah, I have people that bring it up because, as I'm sure happens to you, people like to do an intro leveraging the command because it's very click-worthy, right? That title.
It also gets you business.
Business, I would say that too. You got the tier 1 piece, helps in a lot of different ways, but it does get exploited. And I think that exploitation piece is what drives people that are currently there nuts. Would you agree, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I know. Like when we kind of briefly touched on this when I was there and guys are doing whatever, in civilian land. I was like, man, what are they doing? Just keep your mouth shut, quiet professionals. And I still believe in that too, as long as you're not discussing ops that are currently taking place.
Yeah.
But when you get out civilian world, you kind of like, okay, what do I do? It's my resume, man.
Right.
It's my resume. It's like, if I'm going to apply to a job, I'm not going to leave that out because it's secretive. I'm like, I was here. I'm like, what is this? And I'll explain it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my resume. Absolutely. But I'm not going to go and talk about, this is how we do this. This is how we do this. And if it's broad and known, then that's not a big deal. But yeah, I mean, classification of certain things are classification. Right. And that's the way it's got to be.
Let's dig into the fun stuff. The most dangerous situation that I know you in a career, you have several. Whether
I was about to say in a fight with my wife.
yeah, we have several depending on the era, right? What about helicopters versus fixed wing?
Yeah. I had a couple stall in mid-flight and at the nighttime in Afghanistan, which is definitely scary. It's like, okay, now we're gonna die in this,
right? But that's that. I always bring up the whistling shit cans of death.
Yeah,
right? That's helicopters.
There's 46s, dude.
Right.
Dude,
What's
did you
wrong?
just die?
Yeah, you know where I
was a spec ops bird, man. What are these techs doing?
What is going on?
Freaking mechanics.
Yeah, we had one. It was a training gig, and it was a 47. And
I'm sorry, 47. That's what I said.
47. And it was the Chocolate Mountains in Nevada. Right. And it was at Fallon. I forgot what the hell we were doing out there. And we were flying to come back one night, and the pilots couldn't get over the mountain range because of the winds. So it would come up, and I mean, you're looking down, you can see the top of a mountain, you know the deal, 5 feet away.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it was pushing into the wind and would not get over the mountain. So he would turn left, bank right. And of course the winds would catch those props and push you down. It was like this, it was the craziest roller coaster. Yeah.
Dude.
And then he would try again. And we're over comms going, are we at the lowest point? I mean, what are you doing? You aiming for the highest?
Are you a pilot?
And anyway, we finally got over that night. But all you're thinking about, well, if we run out of gas,
we're going to use the wheels and just kind of off-road this over the mountaintop real quick.
Yeah. We were debating. It was like, okay, we're just going to camp. He's going to land and we're going to camp out and wait for the winds to die down. It's like, it was insane. But it was those moments on helicopters when you think, oh,
I'd probably support that decision.
Now we're going to die.
We'll just go to sleep. It's fine.
Just land and camp out. It's us.
I've got food.
That's right. You're listening to Can You Survive This Podcast? Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and share on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows.